then around 1969, I was supposed to graduate from high school and didn't. I dropped out and moved around 1970 to Austin, which is about 90 miles north of San Antonio, which was much more of a hip music market, remains so. It's kind of a fourth coast. Moved there for 10 years. It was a really, musically eclectic place, really kinetic in terms of people that were doing stuff. Stevie Ray Vaughan was there, Eric Johnson, Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, then people like Willie and Jerry Jeff Walker. I mean, there was a real broad base of music there. So it was a really great melting pot. I learned a lot and had made some really long friendships. Really developed my chops there. But I was also just playing in a cover band to make money for the most part. I was married young at 22, had a son, and needed to make money. So it was better for me to play cover tunes in bars and stuff than it was to really try to push my original material on the public, as people like Stevie Ray did, who suffered for his art and didn't make a lot of money, but was certainly a local hero in Austin as an original artist. So I just took a different tack. But as I said, I got married at 22. I had a son. I had bills to pay, and so it just made more sense. So I just recorded my tunes at night in the studio, and then I sent demos away. And I felt confident about my songs, although, it was hard to around town, Eric Johnson's group, the Electromagnets, Stevie Ray, to watch groups like Moving Sidewalk, which was the precursor to ZZ Top, start to get recognition doing their own material, and feel like saying, well, I've got some songs too. But then again, as I said, when my record came out, it was kind of caught everybody by surprise because no one even knew I wrote songs. And then we got an actual deal, and people were like, wow, I didn't know you wrote tunes. And then suddenly the Grammys happened. And so, but the tact, I think, worked well because I didn't burn myself out playing my own material to 6 people a night, and kind of kept it fresh and really just, focused on the record labels to get the deal. I started in 75 to send some demos to Warner's, and some of those demos included Sailing. And all I ever got back from the first 2 demo sets of 4 songs was they liked my voice. The material they weren't very sure about, but they liked my voice, and could I send some more tunes, which is such a standard. I think it's a standard letter that they just send out, where they hear a little something there. They don't want you to slip away to somebody else, but they don't really want to sign you. So finally, I was getting a little frustrated, and I looked into the Billboard catalog, Billboard magazine, and found that Mo Austin was chairman of the board of Warner Bros. Records, and I knew I couldn't get to him, so the next person on the list was David Burson, who was his assistant, so I just assumed he was pretty high up. So I sent my tape directly to David Burson, who actually turns out to be an attorney who was really kind of Mo's assistant, but he also did some tutoring for Mo's children, and he was just sort of a executive assistant to Mo. He really didn't have anything to do with music per se. He was more, sort of high-level business stuff. So David Burson had never gotten a tape before from anybody in the mail. And he got it and put it in his office, and he liked it. And he was having lunch that day with Lenny Waronker, who was head of A&R at Warner Brothers, and they got in the car. And this is all a story related by later after the fact by David Burson and Lenny, and David Burson said, hey, I got this tape, and you had to check it out. And, of course, Lenny was like, we're at lunch. Could you give me 2 minutes rest? Because I'm head of A&R. This is all I do all day is listen to this crap. But Burson forced him to listen to it, and Lenny liked it. And so that's really when the ball got rolling. So it was just a complete fluke that I got to Lenny through David Burson. Because otherwise, Lenny told me that tape would have come into some lower-level A&R person, and they would have just put it in another envelope with their standard kind of send us some more material letter, When Tim called and said, look, we got a call from Warner's, and Michael Austin and Russ Titleman want to come down to here and see you play. Then we had to scramble and get sort of an original gig together because we'd not been playing the material live. So we scrambled together and borrowed some synthesizers, and we played a local gig. And they came down to see myself and Kinky Friedman.
Oh, jeez.
They came to see Kinky Friedman and I. And they went to see me, and then they went to see Kiki play somewhere. And I remember something about Kiki telling me, or somebody telling me, that if it came down between myself and Kiki, that I was out of luck because he was Jewish. And of course, all the people, Mo and Russ and all those guys are Jewish. So there would be this sort of, bond between them, and they would pick him over me, which sounds like a typical thing for Kinky Friedman to say. But so Yeah, they liked what they saw and that they'd heard, but they still didn't have a lot of faith in the material. They said the songs are all right, but we just think your voice is really radio friendly, and it's really unique. So we'd like to sign you. Of course, I was thrilled with any attention, but we'd still like to sign you. But we think we'd probably going to find other material for you to record, which I was very disappointed because obviously I was a songwriter, but I was just thrilled to have anything. So as time went on, I went to Warner's. Michael Austin, Mo's son, who really signed me to the label, recommended Michael Lomardian as my producer, and they started talking to more people and saying, these songs are, I think, better than you think. And I was allowed to go in with Lomardian and make the record. And then it turned out okay. But they had heard Ride Like the Wind Sailing. They still didn't hear a single. And then I wrote Say You'll Be Mine, which is the last song I wrote for the record, which I thought was kind of a throwaway tune, but they felt it was a single. And it started with the chorus. And I had styled it after, I was desperate to write a single, so I heard Boz Scaggs' tune on the radio, Cameras, Action, Do It Again. And it started with the chorus. And I thought, well, there's my key right there. I need to start my song with the chorus. So I wrote this tune, Say You'll Be Mine, it started with the chorus, and Lenny thought it was a hit, and they decided that would be the single. But then, right before the release of the record, Omardian made a sort of an executive producer decision to release Ride Like the Wind, because all the dance stuff that had been in the clubs and Ride Like the Wind had 4 on the floor, and so fortunately we released that. So yeah, it's just, everything seemed to go well. I don't know. It's just the gods watching over us.